So down tree on the trail. I would try to move it, but it's just no way. It's too heavy. It's lodged in on a tree on the other side. Oops. So I dropped my fucking bike. We get that on video. I can be in the blooper reel, right guys?
Stressing, counting all my blessings. God, come get me out of this town. 'Cause every day I wake up wishing I could break up with the city light and construction sound. I couldn't wait to move, I had so much to do. It was all I could do to get away. But now that I'm here, I'm filled with fear. In the mirror when I look at my face, all I see is an empty heart and broken dreams. Oh, you got me cussing, yeah, I'm probably running, trying to get away from myself.
Morning.
Need a vacation, maybe medication. Do you think I need professional help? I couldn't wait to move, I had so much to prove. It's all I could do to get away. But now that I'm here, I'm filled with fear. In the mirror when I look at my face, all I see is an empty heart and broken dreams.
Morning, morning. Mile 25, folks, mile 25. About 11 miles to Slate Run. Back on the trail after a breakfast sandwich. I broke down and had a breakfast sandwich at Miller's General Store. Thank you, ladies, for a wonderful breakfast. I had a ham, egg, and cheese sandwich on a Kaiser roll, and it was absolutely delicious. Highly recommend Miller's General Store for a pit stop for food and or water, snacks in Blackwell. Morning. Morning. So I just passed the Hoffman Campground, which is obviously just past Blackwell. And that was one of the places that I thought about staying at, was Hoffman Campground. But I opted to challenge myself a little bit by doing the ride all the way down to Tomb Flats today. Really trying to get my bicycle legs back and thinking of these rides now as training rides for when I do my trip in August. So let's talk about that. How about the Erie Canal? The Erie Canal, which is going to go from, well, which does go from Buffalo on the western side of New York State all the way to Albany, where it meets up with the Hudson River in Albany. And that'll be a 360-mile bike ride. I'm going to do that over the course of probably 9-10 days total. I started hammering out an itinerary for that trip, and I'll be tweaking it over the next few weeks before I come up with a final plan. A friend of mine who lives up in that area along the canal is going to help me out with that. It's actually someone that I met a few years back on this trail, the Pine Creek Trail, and when he found out that I was going to be doing the Erie Canal, he offered to help and possibly even ride a segment or two with me to get me through the Rochester, New York area, which can be a little bit tricky. So Joe, I thank you for that in advance. But yeah, I'll be doing that ride in mid-August. August 11th is the starting day for that trip. So we'll be going up to Buffalo on Sunday the 10th and staying overnight in Buffalo, and then I'll be hitting the trail that next morning, Monday, August 11th. That is the current plan. And then depending upon mileage each day, I mean, I think my initial thought was that I was going to do 60 miles each day, but probably a little aggressive, especially with wanting to stop at all the historical sites along the canal and do filming and photography. So the exact mileage each day is going to vary. Some days I'm going to take a short day and just do 30. Other days I might push and do that 60, 70 mile day. We'll see. And as with any outdoor activity, it'll be weather dependent. Mid-August, there could be a heat wave, there could be bad thunderstorms. You just don't know. That's part of going on these adventures, is that it's a day-by-day thing and you have to adapt as you're along the trail. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be coming up in August. If any of you have been on the Erie Canal and have any advice or tips about where to stay, where to eat, I'd be more than happy to get a comment from you guys so that I can have your input and help me out with that ride. I'd appreciate it. Sky's remaining overcast right now. The humidity is definitely way up there. I'd have to say it's about 110% humidity because it just feels yucky as far as that goes. Cruising along, it's 11:05 a.m. Passing the Rattlesnake Rock access area. That is actually the parking area for those of you who have ever or are considering hiking the West Rim Trail. The West Rim Trail runs up the side of the gorge appropriately on the west side and runs from this point here to just south of Blackwell and then runs 30 miles north up to Ansonia. I did attempt that hike once 5 years ago. Crazy Steve during the pandemic decided, hey, I have nothing better to do right now, so let me go torture myself and try to hike 30 miles on the side of a mountain. And I was in, I want to say mid-May of 2020 that I did that. And what I didn't realize was the amount of storms that had taken place before that trip, that attempted through hike of the West Rim Trail. And there were so many blowdowns, which is big trees across the trail. And as my luck would have it, I was trying to scale one of those big pine trees and came down on the other side and rolled my ankle pretty bad. So I had about 12 miles to go to finish the trail, and I couldn't do it, not in that condition. So instead of being the guy that called for a rescue, I hobbled out of the woods and made it to an area where I luckily had some cell phone coverage. I think I had the Garmin in reach on me and texted Stacy my location, and she was able to get a hold of the folks at Pine Creek Outfitters. Good morning, good morning. Good morning. So Stacy was able to get a hold of Pine Creek Outfitters, who was doing shuttle service for me from Rattlesnake Rock and taking my car back up to Ansonia. And they picked me up on one of the Forest Service roads. So maybe one day I will re-torture myself and do that trail in its entirety. Good morning, folks. How are you? It's certainly not an easy hike. I do have several friends that have completed it. It's a tough trail. It's a lot of elevation gain, especially at the beginning out of Rattlesnake Rock area, and a lot of A lot of walking along the side of a cliff, basically. So you really have to be sure of your footing and know what you're doing. Morning, folks. How are you? Mile marker 27. 27, folks. So, making progress. All right, guys, we are coming up on the village of Slate Run. Slate Run, which is my personal favorite town on the trail. It's sort of a midway point on the trail, not exactly geographically midpoint, but it's a great place because you do have Wolf's General Store, which you can grab sandwiches, supplies, and if you're into fly fishing, they are the resident experts on the creek and anything and everything to do with fly fishing. I have gone there on numerous occasions, and they have helped me so much over the past few years with fly fishing gear and just advice, what flies to use, what's hatching, hot spots on the creek, where to go. So it's coming up there on the left-hand side. You can sort of get a glimpse of it through the trees, but definitely gonna stop in over there and say hi. And I need to see if they have some tent repair tape. I made a big mistake, not a crazy big mistake, but when I was putting the tent up last night, I attached this middle section of the tent to the wrong pole, and I put a little too much tension on it and started a tear. So I want to see if they have some clear tape, like a tenacious tape is what I have used in the past, just to repair that before it gets any worse. And it's really just a maybe a 1/4-inch hole, big enough for the mosquitoes to get through. So I want to get that taken care of before it gets any worse. So we're going to stop in and walk you around Wolf's General Store. And across the way, across the bridge, one of my favorite places, the Hotel Manor with the umbrellas up. Looks like a perfect spot for lunch. So stay with me and let's continue this adventure. Hello, puppy dog. Don't worry, I'm not gonna touch your truck. I know it's hot out, right? You must have fun riding in the back of that, huh? Yeah. Ooh. Hot, hot, hot. Okay.
We'll just do one at a time. There's stuff. Put mayo. You want the tiny dressing on that? You want the hot cross pepper? No, that's good. You want anything like sweet pepper? No, thanks. I'll just use it. Sweet pepper? Dill pickles? On that can? Yep. Okay. Saw that bike carrier before. I mean, bottle carrier.
Yeah. On days like this, when you need the extra water, it comes in so handy.
I'm afraid if I reach down to grab something like that, I crash. That's just how I ride.
I'm not sure that I actually ever reach for it, but when I stop, then I can. The ones down here, yes, or the one up top.
There you go. Doing the whole thing.
Just different pieces of it. I'm trying to figure out all my gear. I'm doing the Erie Canal in August, so this is sort of like my practice runs that I do on here.
Training.
Yeah, figure out what gear I need, what I don't. Like, I don't think I'll be bringing my fishing pole when I do the Erie Canal, but here you kind of have to have it.
you go. Oh, God, move it over.
Hey guys, how are you? I am at camp at Tomb Flats. I set up probably about an hour ago. I made a stupid mistake. I didn't make a reservation for this site. I thought that I could stop when I stop for lunch and just go on the website and make a reservation. And turns out that you can only do that up until noon to make a reservation on the day of. So I rode down here anyway from Slate Run. It's only about a mile, maybe a mile and a half tops to get here from Slate Run. And I looked around, there was nobody at any of the campsites, but as good luck would have it, the State Forest Ranger drove through. It was a woman, and I spoke to her and I said, hey, you know, here's my dilemma. I don't have a reservation. Is it possible to stay? And she went out of her way. She was the nicest lady in the world, let me tell you. It was a rough 20 miles today. I mean, let's talk about the not so glamorous part of bikepacking. It was hot today. I think the temperature got to 92 degrees at about 4 o'clock. And it was getting to me. Even though I had plenty of Powerade and drank lots of water, I did stop for lunch at the Hotel Manor. But she was so nice. She understood my dilemma, and she's letting me stay here tonight. And she wrote me, like a pass to stay here at the campground. And basically, she took my word for the fact that I would either stop at the State Forest office or give them a call first thing tomorrow and give a credit card so I could pay for it. Excuse me. I will edit that out. Pause. So, I think this is the not so glamorous part. I am exhausted right now, even though I only did 20 miles today, which, a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't have my bike legs back, and I'm out of shape, and I'm working my best to get in shape before the big ride in August. The other part is, as much as I try to get away on the weekends like this, I still have responsibilities back home, and sometimes they creep in, be it work, be it family issues. So it's tough, man. You want to be out here and you want to be on the trail. And I love this. I love doing my thing, but it's tough sometimes. It is. It's tough to be out here doing what you want to do. And I know it probably sounds silly what I'm saying right now, but yeah, just feeling a little, I don't want to say homesick because I've only been gone for a day. Well, 2 days now. But sometimes I think that it's so hard. And I guess it's with anything, striking a balance between work and personal time, doing your thing. It's so hard sometimes, man. I know you guys go through it too, so I don't mean to sound like I'm crybait, see, I'm so tired. I don't want to sound like I'm being a crybaby about this. I'm just putting it out there so you guys know what's going on in my mind while I'm out here today. I did have a great day. The trail is beautiful. The stretch between Tyadatin, the campground that I stayed at last night, and then down to Slate Run, probably Tyadatin to Blackwell is the most scenic part of the trail in my opinion. And then as you get from Blackwell into Slate Run, also gorgeous. Slate Run is my favorite town on the trail, as I said earlier in the video. I'm at Tomb Flats tonight, And then the plan for tomorrow is to head back north. I have 36 miles to do to get back to the car up at Wellsboro Junction. And that's going to be a heck of a ride because tomorrow the temperature goes up even more. I think at 4 o'clock the temperature is predicted to be 96 degrees. So my current plan is to wake up at daybreak, if not sooner. I may do a little riding in the dark. If I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I am going to break camp and hit the trail as early as possible to beat the heat tomorrow. So I'm just waiting a little bit to have something to eat, and then I am going to turn in early, and I will meet back up with you guys probably tomorrow morning. If nothing goes on at the campground tonight that's worth filming, I am going to call it an early night and get to bed probably about 8 o'clock, wake up at 4, break camp, and try to be on the trail at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. So thanks for listening to me babble. Again, I hope it doesn't come across as I'm complaining. I just wanted to have a true, talk from the heart about, where I'm at mentally and physically. All right, guys, I will catch up with you later. Thank you. Good morning, guys. How are you? Today is Monday, June 23rd, day 3 of my trip on the Pine Creek Rail Trail. I am getting an early start today because it's going to be a hot one. This afternoon, the temperature is supposed to peak at 96 degrees, and I do not want to be riding in that kind of yuck. So getting an early start, it is just after 6 a.m., 6:05, leaving from the Tomb Flats Campground, where I had a wonderful night's sleep, most likely because I was exhausted, but it was nice. Once the afternoon, daytime people that were rafting and kayaking left, I had the entire campground to myself, so it was nice. Relatively cool this morning at about 68 degrees, but the temps are supposed to rise pretty rapidly today. I think by 9 o'clock it's supposed to hit 79 degrees. So trying to make as much time as possible on the trail before the crazy heat gets here. We do have a down tree to contend with up here. It was down yesterday, and the DCNR folks have not been able to get out here yet. I would assume today. I'm gonna I have to call and pay for my campsite, which is a good little story I'm going to tell you in a minute. But let me get around this tree and I'll explain to you what's going on. Okay, let me turn the camera around so you guys can see this. So down tree on the trail. I would try to move it, but it's just no way. It's too heavy. It's lodged in on a tree on the other side. Oops. So I dropped my fucking bike. We get that on video. I can be in the blooper reel, right, guys? Not a good start. All right, take two. That's gonna make for a great part of the blooper reel. I went to dismount to go across the tree and I lost a grip on the handlebar and my bike went down. So anyway, about the campsite last night. Before I started the trip, I made a reservation for Tayadaten, and no problem. Pay your $16.50 online, and then I just couldn't decide where I was going to stay last night. And when I got to the Hotel Manor for lunch yesterday, I decided, all right, let me pop on the Wi-Fi and I'll go ahead and make the reservation online, thinking it's not going to be busy on a Sunday night. Silly me, I'm so used to being here in the off seasons, and now that school is out, whatever, thinking, all right, maybe it's just crowded, but it wouldn't let me make the reservation online because after 12 o'clock noon each day, you can no longer make an online reservation for that same day. So I was leaving Slate Run. I'm like, all right, let me ride the mile down to Tomb Flats and see how busy it looks. And when I pulled in, oh my God, there was a lot of people. All the campsites were taken, but from the previous night. So people were packing up, and as my luck would have it, the ranger truck, the forest ranger truck pulls through, and a nice woman waves hello. I say hi to her and I said, hey, I have a question or a favor to ask. I don't have a reservation for tonight, but I'd really like to stay here. Otherwise, I mean, I could have done it, but I would have had to have ridden another 13 miles or so to get down to Waterville and see if there was room at the Waterville Hotel. I didn't want to take that chance, not in the heat of yesterday. It was 92. And the woman, nice as could be, said, sure, you can stay, no problem. Just do me a favor. In the morning when you wake up, call the forest ranger office, give me your credit card information, and she wrote me a pass to stay at one of the sites last night, and it worked out. So word to the wise, if you can, try to have your trip planned out and make your reservations ahead of time. And quite honestly, even if you made the reservation and spent the $16.50 and then decided to stay somewhere else, at least you would be covered. So I think the long part of the story is over. So I think what I'm trying to say is I have to call the ranger office this morning, and I'm going to let them know about that tree being down. I'm sure people have already reported it, but just in case. We don't want to be flying along and then all of a sudden come across that tree. That could be a little dangerous. So like I said, the goal today is to beat as much of the heat as possible. God, I wish I could stay like this all day. It's really nice right now. I have, from the campground, 36 miles to go to the trailhead up in Wellsboro Junction. So, first mile down, 35 miles to go today. I'm gonna film along the way, not as much as usual, but I will have the camera running for a good part of the trip anyway. Charged up the batteries, charged up the microphone. Had a cup of coffee for breakfast, didn't eat yet, but I am gonna have to stop probably at Cedar Run to get some more water and Powerade took inventory last night, and I'm sitting on only 1 bottle of Powerade and 3 bottles of water to make the 35-mile ride, so not enough on a day like today. So I'm gonna camel up once I get to either Blackwell, but probably Cedar Run. I don't know that the store will be open by the time I get to Blackwell. It might be a little too early yet. So thanks for coming along on this morning's ride. There's beautiful Hotel Manor off in the distance to my left. And Wolf's General Store over here on the right. That is Wolf's General Store right there. Home to the Slate Run tackle shop. Can see all that moisture up in the atmosphere, the fog, the mist up on the mountains. Definitely beautiful riding weather right now, though. There you go, 35-mile. I'm at the 35-mile marker right there. Nice little challenge for the morning. Getting ready for the Erie Canal. Less than 2 months away now. August 11th. Be sure to stay tuned for that one. If you haven't already, now's the perfect time to subscribe. Hit the like button, leave me a comment. Let me know what kind of videos you want me to make. I will be doing more training rides. I don't think I'll be able to get out to this location, to the Pine Creek Rail Trail, again before the ride. I might be able to, depends on work schedule. I'll be doing a lot of practice runs, training runs on the D&L Trail, which is my home trail up in the Whitehaven, Jim Thorpe area of Pennsylvania. Knock on wood, for my bike helmet, the knee is holding up well. I think I might have to get another cortisone shot before the trip, just to be on the safe side. There's a beautiful house. You know, that's one thing, as Stacy and I continue to look for real estate out here, look for a house to retire to, potentially open up a bed and breakfast. A lot of the houses you have to have flood insurance because of the creek. And so depending upon your proximity to the actual creek, you'd have to pay flood insurance as well as your regular homeowner's insurance. Some of them are like truly in the flood zone where it's severe flooding can happen. I'm curious. Something I never asked anyone, any of the locals, is what's the highest flooding, or, you know, what's the highest the creek has ever gotten to? Because you think about some of these big, beautiful houses that are along the waterfront, and if we had any of the flooding, let's say like what they had down in, God forbid, western North Carolina or West Virginia a couple weeks ago, so hey, if you're a local, or if you just know the answer to that, let me know. I'm losing the label on the water bottle. Oh. Yeah, leave a comment if you know the answer to that, if you know about the flooding of the Pine Creek and what's the worst it's ever been. Oh. You know, to this day, I still get a little nervous when I go through the gates. I always think about how wide my saddlebags are. I call them saddlebags. You know, the fancy cycling term is pannier. So I always think about how wide the panniers are, and also my front left mirror, because they give you just enough room on some of these to get through. And the whole concept is that they don't want people to take a car, a Jeep, a side-by-side. No motorized vehicles are allowed on the bike trail. So some of them are okay, like this one, pretty wide. But some of them really just get narrow to the point where, hold on here, be careful on this road crossing. Some of them get really narrow where you just have to be super careful. These ones aren't bad at all. But if you're not paying attention, or if people are coming the other way, really need to slow down and or stop and dismount and walk yourself through. Apologize if you're hearing the crinkle. That's my water bottle. Mile 34. Only 34 to go, folks. So here's a random comment. Last night, at about 2 a.m., I had to get up to water the flowers. And when I got up, I stepped outside the tent and I didn't have my glasses on. I couldn't figure it out at first, but there were literally thousands of fireflies all across the field in the campground. And I reached back into the tent, I grabbed my glasses, and it was just one of those wow moments where nature was just so beautiful. I wish I had the chance to grab the camera, but it was packed away in my bags. But just so beautiful to wake up in the middle of the night and see all those fireflies. Nature never ceases to amaze me. It really doesn't. And then one other thing that happened this morning when I got up is I had a problem with the zipper on my tent. I have a Big Agnes copper spur bikepacking tent. And it's a great tent, don't get me wrong. But the rain fly, which is the piece of material that goes over the tent, and as it's named, it keeps the rain from getting into the tent. But the zippers, I don't know. I feel that I need to call Big Agnes company or send them an email at least. The zippers are, I don't want to say flimsy, the zippers themselves are okay, but the overlap for the zipper just gets in the way so that when you either zipper up or zipper down, that thin material gets caught in the zipper. And it's happened on several occasions. And today when I opened up the tent, I guess I just went a little too fast and the material caught and it just would not come out. So I was literally toying with it for like 15 minutes, trying to get the zipper to open the right way, gently pull the material out to the point where I gave up and I just used the door on the other side. So I don't know, is that something you guys have had a problem with? Is Big Agnes tent zippers been a problem for you? I don't know. It just seems odd to spend, don't tell Stacy, it just seems odd to spend like $500 on a tent and have that kind of, I don't know, manufacturer's defect, so to speak. I was not happy this morning with the tent. I mean, I like it, but those little things those annoying kind of things that happen with gear. It's just for that kind of money, they need to figure out a solution to that, in my opinion. Okay, rant over. Just had to get that out of my system because it was frustrating as hell. Big Agnes, if you're listening, talk to me, guys. Morning, folks. How are you? I have only passed 2 cyclists, and there was one woman jogging this morning. Passed her about, well, she was headed in the other direction, probably about 10 minutes ago. So, quiet morning on the trail thus far. Mile 30, so 6 miles in on the ride today, 6 miles in. Oh, just a quick glance of downtown Cedar Run. Don't blink or you will miss it. Over on the right is the Cedar Run Inn. I hear they have amazing food. Never eaten there. And then over on the left with the ice cream cone is the Cedar Run General Store, which is a pretty big pit stop along the way for ice cream and assorted snacks and drinks. So the Cedar Run General Store and the Cedar Run Inn. All right, I'm gonna keep on trekking. No pun intended. See what I did there? Trek, bicycle, keep on trekking. All right, too early for dad jokes. I'm going. One of my dream houses up on the hill here. Someday. You know what? I am going to stop for a quick second and drink a little Powerade. Whew. Okay, that was a real quick break because I just found out that the mosquitoes are waking up as well. Mosquitoes are pretty terrible this morning. I guess with this humidity and warm weather, they are out in full force early today. So, a couple quick swigs of Powerade and back to riding. The beautiful bridge at Cedar Run. Oh, so gorgeous. Just gonna swing around for one quick second so you can see what I'm seeing. What a beautiful, beautiful view. The fog coming down through the valley. The water flowing.
If the Mona Lisa canvas ripped, I wouldn't care, 'cause I could picture you. If the Tower of Pisa finally tipped, well then you'd know how hard I fell for you. If the world stopped turning tomorrow, if it all fell into the sea, I'd let it sink to the bottom, 'cause I only care about one thing, you know. None of it matters as much as you matter to me. If the Big Ben Tower ceased to ring, it's okay, 'cause I could sing for you. If every flower went extinct, my heart would still be blossoming for you. If the world stopped turning tomorrow, if it all fell into the sea, I'd let it sink to the bottom, 'cause I only care about one thing, you know. None of it matters as much as you matter to me. No, none of it matters as much as you matter to me. If everything changed, I'd say the same. Through any heartbreak, my love will remain. If the world stopped turning tomorrow, if it all fell into the sea, I'd let it sink to the bottom, 'cause I only care about one thing, you know. No, none of it matters as much as you matter to me. No, none of it matters as much as you matter to me.
That is the first glimpse of the sun coming through all the fog. So about an hour and a half into the ride, and the sun is peeking through. Which means that it's about to get hot within the next hour or two. So with a few breaks for water and to do a little filming, I'm an hour and a half in and just over 10 miles into the ride. We just passed Rattlesnake Rock access area, so the next point of interest will be the lovely town of Blackwell. Which, if I time it right, I'm hoping that the store opens early at 8 a.m. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I didn't think to check when I was there yesterday. Should have asked what time they opened today. But even if I have to wait a few minutes, I'm just not going to wait more than a few because I want to keep going. But I also don't want to run out of water. I do have my water filter, my Sawyer water filter in the bag. So worst case scenario, I can stop at one of the waterfalls that leads into the creek and grab some water and filter water. I am still sitting on 2 full bottles of water and about half a Powerade. But I know from past experience that that is not enough to go another 20 miles, not in this heat. Mile 25 to go. I said I wasn't going to stop and film along the way, but this is just too spectacular. Look at this. What an amazing view that is. I'll stand by what I said before. This part of the gorge, the area between Blackwell and Tyadatin, is absolutely stunning. Incredible. The trail is still relatively quiet this morning. There's a good old Trek Dual Sport 1. It's working out well having my camera gear right in the trunk bag. All right, back to riding. We have approximately 6 miles to go to Tyadatin, which I'm going to use that as a rest stop, have my breakfast there. I'm going to use the water. They have a well there, a pump well, and then I'll just filter that water and then get back on the trail after a little break there. So I just had to stop and share this with you guys. There's mile marker 22, so 6 miles to Tayadatin, and then roughly 16 miles after that, so 22 miles to go. "8:30 a.m. I plan to beat the heat. So far is working. Absolutely incredible views. Just wow. Look at that. God, I love this trail. It's so quiet. All I can hear is the birds. And the creek. If you look closely, guys, you can see a bald eagle. He's perched right on the end of that branch. Right there. I wish I had better zoom on this camera, but I don't. I'm hoping that he's going to take off. It's always amazing when you can see the wingspan on these guys. He's up there looking down at the creek, trying to find a fish for breakfast. There he goes. Oh, he did not go in the water. He landed in another tree. So cool. It's probably the third or fourth eagle that I've seen on the trip this couple of days. All right, back on the trail after a short little break at Tayadatin Campground. I had a little snack, ate a few protein bars, and a couple of my, we call them protein gels, actually called GU, G-U, and I'll show a picture of those on the video in just a minute. But they're loaded with salt and amino acids, so it helps you stay alert, helps you from getting dehydrated. I do have about 1 bottle of water left with about 14 miles to go, which is not the greatest. I didn't realize that the water pump, the well at Tayadatin, is not functioning. So Heads up, guys, if you're planning to get water at Tayadatin, that well is not functioning at all. It's like closed down, bolted up. So be prepared. And luckily, I do have my water filter with me, so there's a couple of the tributaries that run into the creek in just a few minutes that I'm going to stop at. And I think what I'll do is show you the process of how to filter water. Check this out. We have more nature. We have a snapping turtle who is nesting and about to lay eggs, it looks like. So cool. All right, I'm gonna leave the turtle to do her thing and keep on riding. So yeah, I'm gonna get some water from one of the waterfalls or streams that runs into Pine Creek, and I'll show you the whole process of how the water filter works. I always carry a life water bottle because they are the perfect size, and actually the Sawyer water filter screws on perfectly. So if you wanted to, you could actually just fill that bottle with water from your water source and drink from the filter like a straw. In this case, I am going to fill up the other water bottles that I have as well, and then I'll use the life water bottle to refill, and then once I drink from the other bottles, I'll pour into those from the life water bottle, which would be a lot easier to show you than have you imagine what I'm talking about. So bear with me a few minutes. Once I find one of these tributaries, I will stop and show you that water filtration process, which I think I'll do at the Turkey Path, which is 2 miles ahead. So the Turkey Path is a trail stairway that goes all the way up to the state park at the top of the canyon. So along that path there's a whole bunch of waterfalls that run down and finally spill out into Pine Creek. So I'm going to use that as my water source. All right, just passing the 14-mile mark. So 14 miles back to the trailhead and civilization. I'll tell you, I am looking forward to getting back into the car and getting some air conditioning and getting home and taking a nice hot shower after these few days on the trail. Well, we found our source of water. I'm going to fill up a couple bottles and filter them and show you what it's all about. Morning, 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 folks. Good, how are you guys? Morning. Yes, it is. Morning. A little bit of trail maintenance going on, cutting the grass. as we pass the 9-mile marker. 9 miles to go, guys. 9 miles left. Morning, good morning. Test. All right, guys, we're going to keep this as simple as possible. So we have our smart water bottle, and I am going to attach my Sawyer water filter to it. Pretty simple. I can almost do this one-handed. Okay, water filter attached. And then we don't necessarily need this adapter. What we're going to do is flip this over and go into our clean water bottle. Oops, I did not take the lid off. I said I could almost do it with one hand. So now we're just going to squeeze this bottle, and then the clean water comes out the other side. Pretty simple stuff. But I am going to use 2 hands only because these bottles can sometimes be hard to squeeze. Sometimes I'll just do the gravity method and hook up the hose attachment to this. So let me show you. You can get a better view. Can you guys see that? And it's as simple as that. Continue squeezing until the water bottle's full. Cruising along, guys. We have just made it to the Marsh Creek area, just past the Marsh Creek access area, and entering into the last leg of the journey. About 6.5, 7 miles to go. I was able to filter 1 bottle of water. I'll be honest, I was having a little bit of a problem with the Sawyer squeeze. The flow was terrible, so I either have to backwash it when I get home, or it may just be time for a new one. Had it for, oh my gosh, probably 3 years now. Might be time to buy a new model. But I do have enough water to finish this last 6 or so miles. I did take a break in. Oh my gosh. Let me try this again. I did take an extended break when I got to Darling Run. When I was filtering water, I did it on a bench in Darling Run. And I got comfortable and I just stretched my legs and sat in the shade for a little bit. So probably sat there a good 20 minutes just relaxing. Definitely looking forward to getting to the car and some air conditioning and figuring out where to go for lunch, because the bike hiking hunger is kicking in. Didn't have a real breakfast other than a couple of protein bars. And I've been drinking water and Powerade all morning, so a few miles to go and then try to find a place to have lunch. And then the car ride home, which is about 2 hours. Temperature just hit 91 degrees. So if you're looking for a way to not only exercise, but to sweat out a whole bunch of weight in one day, no, I definitely would not recommend being on the trail in this kind of scorching heat. It's coming up on noon right now. I think it's 10 after noon. So should make it to the car by 1 and then the ride home. Not that I'm looking to set any land speed records, especially not in this heat. I've been taking it easy on my knee, trying to get it back in shape. So probably doing about 6-7 miles an hour on average today. Nothing insane, just slowly working my legs back into cycling shape. Ooh, it's getting hot. Thank goodness for a little bit of shade. Oh, it's got to be pushing like 92, 93 degrees right now. And I'm feeling every bit of it. I believe I have about 3 miles left. Let me spin this camera around so you can see what I'm seeing. I don't know if that's going to be level or not, but should be fairly level if I don't ride off the trail. then it definitely will not be. Beautiful farmland. Marsh Creek runs through that whole area over there. Gorgeous. Gorgeous but hot. Oh my God, it's hot out. Thank goodness I left camp early this morning. Because if I had to do this whole ride in this weather, I don't think I would have made it. I think I would have been camping someplace else tonight. That's one of those narrow gates. I'm going to keep the camera turned sideways like that for a little bit because with any luck you'll get a view of the big swamp. There's like a big pond over here covered with lily pads. Usually see a blue heron or two over here. Hope that's level for you guys. There you go. Any herons? Nope, I don't see any blue herons or little green herons. All right, the 3 mile marker. Amen. 3 miles to go, folks. 3 more miles. I have visions of cheeseburgers and ice cream sundaes. Oh my. Oh my God, that shade feels so nice. Just to be out of the sun for a few minutes, seconds. Whew. I'm going to make one more battery change on the camera so I don't run out of battery power for this last bit of the trip. I'll be right back after these messages. All right, guys, about 2 miles to go. Have a little bit of water left, thank goodness. And this trip is almost over. It's been a fun couple of days. It's been a learning experience for sure. Have to make some tweaks to the equipment. Definitely have to figure out the tent situation. I will be calling Big Agnes Corporation, talking to them about the zipper on the tent. And I'm also gonna reconsider or rethink my ride on the trail. Not that I'm gonna postpone it or change it or anything, but I may just consider doing the bed and breakfast route. And the reason for that is, although I love the camping idea, each morning when you get up, you have to break down camp and, you know, yeah, you could probably do it in a half an hour, but in all honesty, to double check everything and get packed up the right way, you're talking about an hour's worth of time in the morning. So that's an hour's worth of time that I could be on the trail instead. I don't know. I have to rethink that. I'm thinking that if I'm doing 360 miles, to be able to wake up fresh each morning and roll out of a bed after having a nice shower and sleeping in air conditioning just makes a little bit more sense for a long trip like that. Maybe I'll stick to the camping ones for the smaller trips like this. I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to Stacy and talk to some friends about what they think about that as well. Let me know. Do you guys usually camp when you're bikepacking? Or do you take the route of doing a bed and breakfast / hotel motel? Or is it a combination, which is what I was thinking about for the Erie Canal? I guess I'm just thinking that mid-August, the odds of there being another heat wave like this and trying to do 60, 70 miles a day is just going to be too tough. So we'll see. I haven't made up a decision. I haven't made up my mind. Just some thoughts that are going through my head. Blue sky up above. Look at that gorgeous sky. The heat is just radiating off the trail. Holy cow. One mile at a time, right? That's all you can do. 1 mile at a time. Did I mention the ice cream? Talk about having a craving. Though I think I'll be eating it inside at the farm, only because it's going to melt in about 3 seconds outside. Hot fudge sundae, chocolate and vanilla ice cream, lots of hot fudge, whipped cream, cherry, no peanuts, please. Oh, look at that beautiful sign. Can you see it? 1 mile marker. Whew. What a difference a few years has made. 36 miles today. 36 miles without any problems. Knock on wood. Do have 3/4 of a mile to go. No, seriously, for not being in total biking shape, I'm pretty darn proud of what I did today. I do not recommend attempting this in this kind of a heat wave, but as my schedule allowed with work having today off in the last 2 days, I was really not going to change plans because of the weather. What's the saying? There is no such thing as bad weather, only soft people. I'm gonna spin this camera around. You're gonna have to look at my ugly mug one last time, guys. See me okay? Okay, now you can see me. I don't want to clip my head off. All right, so this is me after 3 days on the trail. Saturday, Sunday, and today Monday. I had fun, man. It was a good learning experience. It's a good shakedown ride for the Erie Canal trip. And I have to look at the weather real closely as I get closer to the trip to make sure that I'm not going to be dealing with this kind of heat. And if I am, well, those are the cards that I'm going to be dealt. I'll just have to play them wisely. Leaving early today was definitely the key to making it through this day. 36 miles. And my legs are burning. They're sunburning as well, but my legs are burning. I definitely feel it. I did stay hydrated. I did eat lots of snacks along the way, and I did have my energy gels. I am going to show you that. Ooh, excuse me. I might have swallowed a bug. I will show you what those energy gels are so you can see what I'm talking about. It's basically like a Go-Gurt for adults. Some of them have a nice shot of caffeine in them. Some of them are no caffeine. And they have all different flavors. Mandarin orange, salted watermelon, I think is my new favorite. They have a lime, a mandarin orange, did I say that already? Strawberry banana. They have some chocolate flavored ones, birthday cake flavor. So definitely something to look into. It gives you that little boost of power, and more importantly, it gives you the amino acids, the potassium, and the sodium that you need to keep replenishing in your system, especially on a day like today. So and 1/4 of a mile to go to the trailhead. Hi. So a heartfelt thanks for coming along on this ride. I appreciate it. Once again, shameless plug. Please give a thumbs up, leave a comment, And if you care to, please consider subscribing to the channel. That would really help me out a bit. Would help me out a lot. I know that I stepped away for a while because life got in the way. Between my knee surgery and my mom passing away back in October, I just haven't had the chance to get out here. Haven't had the motivation. But now that I'm back out here, sorry guys, you're gonna be stuck with me. Oh, it's that melancholy feeling when you get to the end of the trail. Like, oh, I have to go back home, go to work. But it's part of life, right? But it's finding that balance between work and what you do outside of work. It's so important to keep that balance, guys. Trust me. Keep that balance. Get out here, do something fun. I choose bike riding because I love it. Just remember, guys, life is short. Enjoy the ride.
Stressing, counting all my blessings. God, come get me out of this town. 'Cause every day I wake up wishing I could break up with the city light and construction sound. I couldn't wait to move, I had so much to prove. It was all I could do to get away. But now that I'm here, I'm filled with fear. In the mirror when I look at my face, all I see is an empty heart and broken dreams. Oh, you got me cussing, yeah, I'm probably running, trying to get away from myself. Do I need a vacation, maybe medication? Do you think I need professional help? I couldn't wait to move, I had so much to prove. It's all I could do to get away. But now that I'm here, I'm filled with fear. In the mirror when I look at my face, all I see is an empty heart and broken dreams. Don't give up, you're enough, kid. Keep your head up. If it's tough, you can bluff it. You'll figure it out. Got a bug, give me love, so I don't mess myself up with the drugs and the lover who isn't enough for me. Is it ever enough for me? I couldn't wait to move, I had so much to prove. It was all I could do to get away. But now that I'm here, I'm filled with fear. In the mirror when I look at my face, I couldn't wait to move, I had so much to prove. It was all I could do to get away. And now that I'm here, I'm filled with fear. In the mirror when I look at my face, all I see is an empty heart and broken